Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank everybody for coming tonight. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Garberding? Here. Councilmember Jones?
Here.
Councilmember Cave?
Here.
Councilmember Olvera? Here. Councilmember Putnam?
Here.
Councilmember Steiger?
Here.
And Councilmember Walker?
Are there any additions to or approval of the agenda, additions or subtractions from the agenda? Hearing none, what's the council's pleasure?
Move to approve the agenda?
You want to bring that up now, or? You want
I'd like to drop the ordinance for solid waste collection. I don't think it's been vetted, and after reading through it, it's not, in compliance with the way we currently collect garbage. And I'd like to send this to both the governance committee and the solid waste committee for review before we bring it to full council.
Second, that I have some concerns about some of the language written into it as it stands right now. The rest of the council, how do you feel?
I agree.
Okay, we'll strike item A, ordinance 2014-1882 for now. The only concern I have, I guess, is one of the things that this was also being brought up is in relation to the rates. Now, the rates are automatically passed on.
Right.
We were just going to notify the citizenry at this point, and at some point put it into our ordinance.
Okay.
Right now, I think we're fine with just pushing this. Hopefully, the first of next month we can get through it. So, all right. So we'll strike 6A. Any other subtractions, additions, or what's the council's pleasure at this point?
Move to approve the agenda as amended? Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. What? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Modified agenda. Thank you very much. Audience comment. Are there any audience wishing to speak on anything other than what's on the agenda tonight?
Yeah. Pete?
No, you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Waste management people were here, they said we took this ordinance off the agenda. Do they want to speak on something and rather than hold them up while we go through everything that we took them off the agenda?
Is there something?
We still have the rate schedules to discuss,
Okay.
right?
It's not
Yeah,
on.
the only thing that I would say is these were like two separate issues.
They're two separate issues.
So,
Yeah.
this is separate from
Yep.
what we're doing.
Okay, all right.
So if you had questions in regards to this, I do have Susan Tilmaine here from Cedar Grove, if you wanted
I
to
don't think
ask.
we have anything else.
Well,
Okay.
that's another agenda item.
Where is it at?
That was him.
They were all rolled together.
It was all rolled into one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a concern.
That's what my question was.
Suspend the rules and amend the agenda?
Second.
Move that we add waste management discussion onto the agenda without the ordinance?
At 8. Okay. So we kind of put you back on this.
Okay.
All right. All in favor?
Whatever you would like.
Aye.
All right. All opposed. All right, back to the audience comment. Just tall enough as a...
Did I miss the good stuff? We already had our first suspension.
Council prosecutor.
Gene Fancher, 37248, 50 Benson Avenue South, Auburn, West, St. Louis Pacific. Technology challenge. It'd be great if you guys used your mics too. I've been council, mayor, audience, park board, staff. I've been attending park board meetings regularly for years and years and years. And I did attend their workshop when they outlined things that they wanted to include in the next year's work plan and budget. And when I looked at the budget, the handout last week at the park board meeting for park facilities, I see that $108,000 plus, or 2.07%, no, 2.702% or so of the park budget. The park budget is that proportion of the general fund of over $4 million. And it's mostly time and hourly. Wages, benefits add up to $100,000 plus $2,000 for overtime. I understood that the park was budgeted approximately 5% of the public employees, staff, so I did the math, and if I multiply the budget for several public works employees, the public works manager, the community development manager, the associate planner, the city administrator, the public works lead, 3 maintenance worker 2s, and 2 maintenance worker 1s, multiply out the attachment on appendix to the budget, we come up, even using the high end, using $8,000 or $4,900 for each position, not the low end, not the middle, because we don't know, haven't seen what scale each employee is at. I come up with $711,593.82 for the Public Works Department employees and the staff that are accredited to park facilities. Times 5%, $35,579.69. That's only about half of what you have listed in the budget for wages, salaries, and benefits for those employees. That comes out to $100,474.46. So that means I have some questions. I want to know why, first, what's going on here? Why is there such a large difference between 5% of the high end of all those scales and the $100,000 plus that you have listed in the budget? By the way, that's $68,000 plus in benefits and in wages, $32,000 plus in benefits. Why doesn't the budget reflect set aside money for items like equipment upgrades, adding facilities like a dog park, a horseshoe court, or a skateboard park? These are all requests from the park and board and from citizens. And what you have in the budget, though, is maintenance and repairs for pocket parks and major parks, $2,850, $1,000 for professional services, and $2,000 for utilities. So other than wages and benefits, there is only $5,850 in the budget for park facilities for something other than wages and benefits. Nothing for West Hill improvements. Nothing for repairs or putting in new toys at any of the pocket parks. Nothing for upgrading Centennial Park. Nothing for a sidewalk. Nothing for a horseshoe pit, for a path. If you do the math, the park is getting charged for a lot of salary that presumably is for cutting the grass in the summer, and they're not getting the benefits. And if you add up the number of contacts that city employees have in the police department, what is it, about 175 contacts a month? Just say 200-300. If you look at the community services contacts, you have 200-300 contacts in community services, and those folks use the gym, they use the parks, but it sure looks like they're getting shortchanged. And so I would like to see some of these questions addressed in the budget discussion that's coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens going to speak on anything besides what's on the agenda?
I have a point of clarification.
Okay.
Do I get to speak under Park Board, or do I have to speak under, because Park Board's on there too, so I would give a
Wait.
report. Now?
You wanna wait till the park board comes in?
Well, it's up to you.
No, it's not. How do you wanna address yourself as a citizen?
Sure,
Or
let's
you wanna-
address myself as a
park
citizen.
board representative?
Let's address myself as a citizen. Okay, and we'll, golly gee, I didn't mean to break it. Kate Hall, 102 Alder Lane South. So I would like to address the park board budget and what we truly get out of it. As Jean has mentioned, the money doesn't add up unless we're getting more of the people than we're actually thinking we're getting. So we had about a page and a half of questions, which Richard is taking a look at, and we'd appreciate a response before the 1st so we can come with great knowledge at your next budget meeting. But the situation now is, 5 months ago, we addressed the LC Park, where there is no fence around the water retention pond, which is a public safety hazard. We were told, we'll get a fence there, and we were quiet. The fence still isn't there. We waited 7 years to buy park equipment for Aspen Lane because of a miscommunication between the city and the people who put it in and a lack of oversight. And we understand that this has been a very difficult year for the city because we have went through 2 or maybe even 3 interim before we got Jack. But now, rumor has it that the fixes for the vendor putting that park in, well, we're going to pay for that too. So my question is, where in the budget do we pay for fixing Aspen Lane? So it also is not a public safety hazard. My question is, if we are going to spend 95% of the park budget on people, will that mean that we can hold the city accountable to grass not being over 12 inches high at least 10 of our parks? Will we have garbage pickup on a routine basis? Will we have weeding? What is it that we're going to get for our $100,000? I think that the park board is just I am concerned as a citizen that we need to be honest with ourselves. Because some of us did a little bit of work, and if we, don't say this out loud, but if we would just outsource the cost of maintenance on our parks, we could save you between $50,000 and $75,000 a year. That's a big chunk of change if we just outsourced. And that's just for maintenance, because that's all we're getting today. It does not count for, as Jean said, we have no budget to buy the Morgan property. It's not in the budget. We have no budget, no grants, and we have a staff where we get 5% of their time. That means we get 4 hours a week, and once a month, those 4 hours are used for our meeting time, for preparing for it. So we have a staff member who is being put upon, and I will admit by the park board, because we want things done, and then we are paying for 3 overhead. We're paying for 2 managers and a city administrator. And we understand that there is some overhead cost, but that's where the big bucks are going. We also have questions on why our benefits went up by 80%. We understand there would be a percentage going up, but an 80% climb in benefits in 1 year. So again, I hope to have those answers from the city administrator, and when we do, we will be coming in for it to give our opinions and maybe some suggestions on how the budget could be retrofitted in order to get more services, more stuff for the parks, and maybe even add some like a pickleball court, or just do something fun for our citizens who do use our parks when they're open. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens have a comment? Seem to be raising their hand, so I'll call the audience comment section complete. Reports, the mayor.